Hello everybody and welcome to our podcast for Pisces. So this is part of the podcast for Transcending the Negative Mind. As you know, I am Julia Melville. I am an accredited psychotherapist. I'm a Kundalini yoga teacher and I work with energy and the connection of mind, body and soul. And it's really lovely to be back with Zoe again. And Zoe works as a soul astrologer, personal trainer and well-being coach. So welcome, Zoe.
Thank you for having me back.
So Pisces is a beautiful watery sign, and it particularly resonates with myself because I am Pisces. My sun is in Pisces. So when this month I want to talk about coming back to the elements around your thoughts. Think of the unknown as water flow. Are your thoughts a fast river, a slow river? And what happens when you meet a tributary? What are you holding on to that is not serving you? Be honest with what you're holding resentment for. What are the old stories that you keep telling yourself? Compare these with water and see where they're flowing or not. And only take forward what resonates with you.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Where's that from?
My head.
Oh, okay. Even more beautiful.
And I want to read a short poem about water. So when I was thinking about today, I was having watery thoughts, and I was drawn to my bookshelf and thought, okay, what books have I got that with poems and things like that in? But another way you can look is to Google water and see what quotes come up from there. The one that I have got is John O'Donoghue. Let us bless the humility of water, always willing to take the shape of whatever otherness holds it. The buoyancy of water, stronger than the deadening, downward drag of gravity. The innocence of water, flowing forth without thought of what awaits it. The refreshment of water, dissolving the crystals of thirst. Keep connecting with what you love. If it's flowers, is your garden full of weeds, then what can you weed out? Come back to the elements around your expression. Slowing down so that we sit in that liminal space. Being gentle with yourself, knowing that we can travel between worlds, the light, the elements, the space between our thoughts and who we believe we are. The sense of liminality is there to support you. Base your thoughts around metaphor. Let your ideas marinate, giving each thought or plan space and a tangible container so that they can fully land.
Excellent. Thank you. It's so well written. Another thing I think people can do if you have a tarot deck is you could, going back to what you said, your own personal quote, you could probably get all the cups cards out and just observe the different emotional states and the different state of the water. Because then we realise what our different emotions, the variety of them, how we can get stuck, and possibly you might even be shown how you can get unstuck somehow. So today we're going to be looking at what our thoughts and feelings create, how those are created, how to break patterns and to rinse off, because Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac and it's all about what we're holding in ourselves. Pisces tends to travel around the zodiac taking the emotional story from each month, each zodiac month, but by the time we get to the next spring equinox we need to just take the seed of awareness forwards and rinse off the baggage in ourselves. But I feel also it's much bigger this year. We're carrying stories through our maternal line, through our own life, through our ancestors' lives, and there's so much coming up that needs to be released so that we can live on a open, free, bright, higher vibration. So we're kind of doing the cleanse of lifetimes rather than just our annual cleanse. So that's what we've got for you today, just what are the problems, how to break them, and then some methods to be able to release as well.
So one practice I have that I do myself and I want to share with you is in your morning practice, ask what a project or an event needs and wants, and then be very aware of the subtleties of the messages that come through during the day. It could be 11:11 on the clock, or 12:21, or 1:23. Yes, these numbers are telling you the time, but they're also synchronistic connections between you and the universe. Notice how the universe is communicating with you to bring you into the beautiful universal flow of Pisces. Everything means something. And again, you can Google anything that comes into your mind that resonates, Google it, and you will find that it has a meaning.
Perfect. We've got the Piscean energies really are that everything is outside the five senses. So you're picking up there on the fact that everything's connected. We only see 5% of the light spectrum. We only hear 5% of the sound spectrum. And Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, etheric water, is tuned into the 95% frequencies of everything that's going on beyond the five senses. So those messages coming through, the symbols, the general awareness when we stop being in the rational productive mind really, and we just relax into the other half of ourselves, the other side of our brain, and really just tune in and listen. And that's what the gifts of Pisces have, if you have that in your chart, or you can just tap into that because we're in the month of Pisces now.
Another thing I'd like to share with you is a breathwork that is an ancient form of humanological therapy. We're often confused and held in deadlock when inner conflicts block our ability to think and act clearly. And in these moments, the mind's prana, or energy, is scattered and distributed in a disturbed manner. So with the breathwork, we breathe in for a certain amount of time, we exhale for a certain amount of time, and then we're going to hold the breath out. And when we breathe in this way, your built-in computer can calculate your total resources and the level of challenge, and then it can design a strategy to prepare and use the mind and body effectively. An inner conflict is the result of excess or disturbed prana. So the way to start is to move your body a little bit to start with. So sitting in easy pose with your hands on your knees, easy pose when you're sitting across legs. Feel your root chakra at the base of your spine, connecting it with the earth. And then you're going to move your body in a circular motion, like drawing a circle around your root chakra, inhaling as you go forwards and exhaling as you go back. Continue for 2 to 3 minutes. And then when you have warmed up a little bit, then start the meditation. And again, either sitting in easy pose or on a chair. Place your hands on your chest so that the fingers are facing each other but not touching, and the thumbs are pointing upwards. Your eyes are 9/10 open, looking at the tip of your nose. Inhale for 5 seconds, exhale for 5 seconds, and hold the breath out for 15 seconds, pulling the navel towards your spine as you are holding the breath out. And continue for 3 minutes, or longer if you feel drawn to doing longer. And really be honest with the breath, because if you're honest with the breath, the meditation will be honest with you. So if you find you can only hold your breath for 8 seconds, that's fine. Build it up so that you can eventually hold it for 15 seconds. And just notice how you feel.
So it's nice to have some practical tips, isn't it, as well as all the conceptual stuff. But what would you say people are most needing to release now? Have you come across anything in your clientele, without giving any personal information away, about what it is that you feel that we can be letting go of, what's causing a problem, and what we can release?
My experience is that it's really releasing these old stories. It's about acknowledging them to ourselves, being honest with ourselves, that actually it's time to leave them behind. And I'm really noticing that people are needing movement as well. So it's not just talking, it's actually doing something, whether it's going out for a run or a walk or painting or whatever it might be. It's actually how can you physically remove that energy. And sometimes it can just be a feeling. It doesn't necessarily have to have an understanding around it. It can be a feeling, but how can we release that feeling from our body?
Yeah, I do a lot of readings now. I'm working on an app, so get a lot of feedback. And obviously we've just had Valentine's Day, so there's a whole story behind love. That's a big deal. So there's plenty of work to be done around that subject, because we are entering into a time of unconditional love and allowing us to be ourselves and to be free and to honour that, and to honour that in others. So I think some of the big stories that might come up, because Pisces can be quite a romantic sign and quite retentive in holding on to past relationships that have long gone, that might be a good area of study this month. Looking back over your relationships where you've taken something personally, this is a big deal. The way that we retain emotional trauma is that we've personalised an incident that possibly wasn't personal. So somebody might say, oh, that person did that to me, and then make a victim story of it. So we could look at love and the victim. Because if we want to become sovereign, we can't afford to carry that victim stance forwards. So just gently go back and see, is there a pattern? Is there a thread through time where you've always attracted a certain sort of person or situation? And if you've always attracted that, then you're the common denominator. They're the messenger. So have a look at the wound or the victim, all of those aspects where you've then captured that in your cells, called it to you in the next experience. But the good news is if you bring that up and integrate it and release it, then you'll change the kind of people that you meet going forwards, because you won't have to have someone else come in and teach you that lesson. So what we're dealing with here is the waters of the deep subconscious, and they're retentive. But we're at a time now where we can give new instructions to the subconscious, which is imprintable matter. We've been living on a no list, on a fear list, and that tends to bring more of that to us. It's magnetic. We're dealing with the magnetic body here. But once we take responsibility, depersonalise and transcend some of those stories, just saying, what did I want to learn here? Then we can start to imprint the subconscious with a yes list. I would love this. I'm excited about that. This is going to be great. And that's what we start to attract to us. So last month we were talking about quantum heart manifestation, which is being responsible for what frequency you're transmitting. And something like gratitude is 540 hertz, whereas guilt or shame is 20 hertz. We are literally walking into a year where we're going to be giant transmitter receivers. So we need to clean out those subconscious waters so that we're not attracting to us more of what we don't want, if that makes sense.
Yes, I love that. I really love that. And actually, while you're talking, I'm also remembering another exercise that you can do, where you can write a letter to the universe. Dear universe, and you write down all that you want, but to be really crystal clear about what you're bringing in and wanting to bring in. And it can be a really lovely way of, and having gratitude as well. So it's a really lovely way to attract that in, as you say, into the magnetic field and bring that into our awareness.
Yeah, and I feel that needs to be done with feeling. The key to that would be to be in the moment. If you want to go and swim with dolphins in a warm sea, you've got to be in that moment and excited about it. So in the waters of the body, what we're looking at here, as well as re-imprinting the subconscious waters with a positive list through feeling, we're also dealing with the waters of the imagination. And this is a real power, especially for women. So I like to see the imagination. If you break down the word I, magi, nation, it's the birthplace of your inner magician. I, magi, nation. This is where we create from. So if you see it as an incubator, whatever we're really feeling in the imagination is already halfway to becoming real, because if you can imagine something, then you've put it into potential already. But then if you fire up that feeling, that would be how you write your letter to source. That would be how you actually start to manifest that, through the feeling of it, not so much the words. So think of your imagination, how it connects to your magnetic body. What you're putting out, you call in. So be the signal that you're putting out in the present tense, and that's what will start to call that back to you.
I agree, totally. I think that's where the being really crystal clear about it as well, with that feeling, comes in really, crystal clear as water.
Exactly. So the memory is water as well. So what we're looking at here is go into your memories, realise they weren't personal, take the seed of awareness forward so that we can all spring out lighter and brighter at the spring equinox. Rinse that away with breathing techniques, or you might want to use some essential oils. Those are wonderful in the month of Pisces, because if you think about it, your smell is your quickest sense. If you smelt the smell of your grandmother's kitchen, you're right back in your grandmother's kitchen. There's no words, there's no confusion, there's no I don't deserve. It's the quickest impulsive sense. So you could have a look at working with some essential oils, maybe rescue remedies if you're bringing up things that are really difficult to deal with, and to really embrace the power of smell and the power of healing herbs or baths or salt baths or things like that during the month of Pisces, as we're in this epic closing sale. Everything must go.
It's really about how we become our best friend, isn't it? The best friend, better friend than anybody else in our life, how we actually become our own best friend and how we can really nurture and support ourselves and, as you say, release those energies that no longer support us and no longer serve us, so that we can live in a lighter, brighter way.
Most definitely. And then I'll always bring the spiritual element into everything. Pisces is actually one of the most spiritual signs of the zodiac. So it's our connection to source, it's our connection to our divinity. We're getting out of the human so that we can shine like the stars that we are. But really connecting shouldn't have to be, oh, I don't feel very connected today, or I'll try when I've got a bit of time. It would be to actually realise that you're a divine spark of source and you're here to express your true essence. Your astrological chart is your vibrational signature, so it is necessary to get to know that, to do a soul retrieval of all that you are. Because as we take away all that we're not, those fake personality stories that we've believed for too long, then we need to replace that gently with a remembering of who we really are. And when we go from separation consciousness to unity consciousness, that would really bring in the I am, and then I'm going to be my true expression, you be your true expression, and all of a sudden those labels of ex-boyfriend or mother or bully at school or whatever it is, those go because you let the other person be exactly who they are. They can't hurt you, they're just being them, if you're not taking it personally. So I would say we're clearing space for that real true essence, the isness of our divine spark, because we're coming into a year where we really are shining our unique vibration to the world. Get to know it. It's not that hard to get to learn your chart. And then it's the being of that every day. We don't even have to have a plan or act upon it, because we are literally transmitter receivers.
Yeah, I love that. And also, the more we embrace and embody this, the more our relationships change around us, because as we become more into connection with ourselves and we love and honour ourselves more, then our relationships around us change as well, in that, as you say, we become less activated by them, or less, triggered by them, which is really magical.
Most definitely. And the planet that rules Pisces is Neptune. And Neptune is a tuning fork. Think of Neptune as a tuning fork. It literally looks like a tuning fork. And the law of entrainment says that if you have a tuning fork on a low frequency and one on a high frequency and you put them down together, the lower frequency will lift. That's the law of entrainment. The high frequency always uplifts the low frequency. So as we go forwards, the way that we're interacting with others is, if we're shining, we're actually invisibly lifting up their frequency. Whereas if you go into the trigger moment or the argument, you're contributing to the friction. So it takes one person to stand back and up and raise their frequency to then see that be raised in all those around us. So we're coming out of a kind of service role where we're always reaching out, trying to help everybody else with words and actions. And we're coming into a higher self-service role where we say, the better I am, the better everybody else is, but I don't actually have to do anything. So from doing to being, it's our being that we need to really shine and be integral with and authentic to. And then know that that's actually going to be helping everybody else, rather than us having to reach out and do it in the old-fashioned, more servile way.
Absolutely. And I find also, and you probably do with clients as well, that when they start to work in this way, and I know for myself as well, that when we work in this way, it ripples out. It's like a pond. It ripples out in all our other relationships, as you say, without needing to say anything. It just happens. It's really magical. So it's like it does healing in our family as well, and in our ancestral line. It's wonderful to do.
Yeah, we're literally cleaning the energy body. So last month was about the electrical body, what we're sending out. This month is about the magnetic body, what we're actually cleansing in those waters. And that's tangible. You can walk into a room and people will feel that something's changed. So Pisces is very sentient. They can walk into a room and pick up all the frequencies of that room. But one of the things that they suffer from is what they call not having healthy boundaries, because they're so absorbent. And they can get saturated like a soggy sponge, and they need to rinse themselves out, and this is going to be the month to do that. But what I would say is that with energy body practice, try not to fall into the trap of putting up barriers. I've got to put up protective barriers because I pick everything up, because that actually drains your energy. If you're radiating at such a high vibration, that will naturally not allow the lower energies in. So if you visualize yourself more like the sun that's just radiating and shining, then we can start to lose that theory that we pick up everybody else's stuff and take it on board ourselves. But we can do that without putting cloaks around us or golden eggs around us or whatever else it has been taught, which may have worked in the past, but now we're talking about radiance and a clean energy system, and then maintaining the highest frequency so nothing can touch us.
I agree totally, and I love that you say how it's changing, because that is definitely how it was taught a few years ago. You know, when you're going out, wrap yourself in a cloak, or visualize whatever around yourself. But definitely that is shifting as this amazing energy is coming in, and this light is coming in to us. I love that it is changing. Exactly,
because if you think about it, if you're cloaking or protecting yourself, that equals fear. That equals victim. So how is that ever going to work? I've seen people talk about putting mirrors on themselves, so whatever is coming towards them is bouncing back to someone else. But that, again, is none of our business, because that just is natural law anyway. That boomerang effect of if anybody's sending out anything negative, then that's already going to go back to them. But without taking up too much of our imagination in that respect to kind of come up with these systems, then just like I say, radiate like the sun, be the highest vibration, contribute to the world, and let's start to lose some of that separation, victim, fear consciousness as we step into our solar sovereignty. So was there anything else that you wanted to bring up today for the lovely month of Pisces, seeing as you are one?
I think just to really think about actually while we're here, what we're doing here, and really feel into the gifts that we have. If you're an artist, you express yourself through your paintings. If you are a musician, you express yourself through music. So thinking about what it is, what is your gift? Is it through words, or is it through exercise, or whatever it might be? And it's how to express yourself in that way, because that's your uniqueness, and we all have our own uniqueness.
Perfectly said. Also, something that you can do to break free of the boundaries of time, because this week we've got Saturn square Uranus, which is taking us from the old ruler of Aquarius to the new ruler of Aquarius. But something that you can do to break the boundaries of time and your own personal small story in this lifetime, because Pisces is soul, it's where we come from and where we go to, and altered states. You can visualize yourself as a soul coming to Earth before you get up in the morning, and just use your imagination. Just ask yourself, why did I come here? Because we're tuning into soul purpose now, which, like I say, doesn't have to be servile. Let's detach the horse from the cart on that one as well. No soul came here to serve another. So it's got to be higher self-service. But I'm lucky to be able to look at charts every day and be constantly reminded that this is just your chart this lifetime. And we're here at the most epic times. This really is a breakthrough point in a 21,000 year cycle. And I feel asking, why did I come here? What did I want to contribute to? Would be a really valuable practice every morning. So we're stepping out of bed as an eternal soul in higher self-service, discovering our true essence, and then see how your day pans out, rather than jumping up out of bed with an alarm clock and a to-do list, which tends to keep us in the rat race mentality. So consider your soul. Listen to your soul calling. That will always be in feeling. That'll be goosebumps or the hairs going up on the back of your neck or something. Listen to that quiet calling. And then we've got a couple of moons coming up this month as well, as usual, and I know people like to work with the moon as well as the sun. So we have the full moon on the 27th of February in Virgo, and the new moon on the 13th of March in Pisces. So just looking at those charts for a moment, on the 27th we've got the full moon is at 9 degrees. So you could work with the number 9, you could work with herbs or breathing or all of the other aspects that we've spoken about. We're clear of the Mercury retrograde, so you could set intentions for cleaning and clearing, really, with Virgo being the very orderly one and Pisces needing to rinse off. So that can be body work, it can be diet, it can be fasting, but on a more soul and spirit level, that would be going inwards, because Virgo is the hermit in tarot, going inwards to find your inner light. That might be a lovely journey that you can do and connect with your soul purpose. Then when we get to the 13th, we've got the new moon really heading towards that spring equinox then, which would be the final cleansing, the final releasing, flow like water, non-resistance, and really connecting again, soul purpose, and a sense of incubating our excitement ready for the next cycle. So those are the 2 moons that are coming up for us to work with this month. And with all the water and the herbs and the affirmations and the beautiful quotes, just allow everything to flow, because everything's already arranging itself in perfect harmony. Your mind can do nothing about it, so just attend to your daily business. But your soul is aligning you for a life of purpose and fullness and perfection. But first we have to let go of that little humany life that we've been attached to for so long.
Fabulous. Really, really lovely. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. So really wonderful. It's always lovely to connect and just have these conversations and expand out on it of what we can do. It's really wonderful. So next month we will be meeting again in Aries, which is fire. So really looking forward to that. And we will look forward to sharing our thoughts around that then as well.
Wonderful. So have a very gentle, gentle kindness, rinsing away, dissolving, healing, quiet month really. Because like I say, we've never been here before. It's an incredible time in this long year cycle. Things aren't going back to how they were. That's all going to fall apart. So we're floating in uncharted waters, but your centre will always be your divine spark. So whether you're floating in space or floating in the sea, we don't need to be grounded as such. We just need to let go and surrender to the flow. But know that you're steering your boat from your excitement and your passion. And the more you turn into that higher service and that soul purpose, then just let every day be what it wants to be.
Absolutely. And I just want to say that if anything comes up for anybody with the breathwork, you're not sure about anything, or you want to share things that come up for you, please do contact me. I'm very open to you emailing me, so you can find me on my website at juliamelville.com, and Zoe will share where you can find her.
Yeah, if somebody does want to get to know your soul chart, your soul plan, it's very easy to learn, it's very intuitive, but this is the time to tune into that, to have a soul retrieval, each planet being an archetype within you that you can bring up and out to wholeness. Then I'm available, zoe7@gmail.com. These videos are on my YouTube channel, Zoe Astro, and I post daily on Facebook at AstroZoe, Instagram at zoe7, and I'll be putting our contact details in the notes below this video.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, and see you all next month.
Have a beautiful month.